motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Welcome back to another episode of Common Sense and the Devil's Advocate. Mike, it is just after Veterans Day. We are down here in Florida, cold, way earlier than we should be. I'm hanging out with my buddy Joe, who,
Joe.
What's going on?
despite being from the north, Joe doesn't like the cold down here anymore. We've both been here long enough to have thin blood, so we're done with that shit.
Yes, amen.
And you had snow already, didn't you?
Yeah, we only got like maybe half an inch, maybe an inch.
So what your wife's used to.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless she slaps me really hard on the ass, and then I'm really going for the gusto.
You get an inch and a half. Oh, that's funny as shit. All right, Mike. So let's we're gonna talk about a whole litany of stuff today. So let's get into it a little bit here, and it'll go right along with why I've asked Joe to join us today, because he is a, I don't know him,
A little over 3.
it's a little over 3 years, so he's one of those, New Yorkers that's he came down to New York, my Florida, as we all like to say down here, which I don't really get, because if you go much further south, everyone's from Jersey or New York, and
Yeah,
it's always been that way as far as I've known.
100%. We took
Especially
over
if you
years
get to
ago.
South Beach, it's like everybody's from the East Coast.
Oh, you go to Boca. Boca's
Yeah, it's all
Boca's
New
like it's
Yorkers.
all New York juice.
all
I
New
mean,
Yorkers.
100%. Great.
100%.
It's one place to get good food down there from up north, that's for sure, Boca. So, but part of the reason that that we bringing Joe in on this is I want to talk a little bit about the recent midterm elections that took place. Okay, and part of
Alright.
the reason that we're bringing Joe in, since he's from the New York area, there's been a lot of interesting viewpoints, shall we say, about, you know what, I'm going to butcher this guy's name 4,000 times because that's how much I really follow in on things.
Zorn
But we're
Mamdani.
gonna say again.
Zorn Mamdani.
All right, Mamdani.
Okay.
All right, so he's the socialist Muslim that just got elected as mayor of New York City. So we're gonna go into a couple different things out here, right? So I'm just gonna say this one more time: socialist Muslim mayor of New York City. Now, this, like, people lost their shit when this happened. So anything on social media, it was an interesting mix of commentary that I saw from people. And first, when I saw this, because again, I live nowhere, I've never lived in New York. I've been close to there, but I'm nowhere near there. Haven't been there in many years. So I don't need to follow that New York City politics all that well. So I'm thinking initially, people losing their minds, this guy's was just elected governor of New York.
Mhm.
Well, guess what? No, one, he's just the mayor of New York City. Yes, it's a big ass city. It encompasses a lot of people, but like some of the uproar was almost like, like he's fucking president. I mean, like it was a little bit crazy. And so I had to do some digging on it and see what's the real deal with this guy, and why are people losing their shit so much. And before I kind of ask you guys your thoughts on it, I do want to mention now I guess it's only a week ago that it
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
A week ago yesterday, I guess. Like I saw an article today, and they say the realtors up there are like, they're literally already seeing the effect of this. And it's really interesting too, because what I'm reading on it is they're just, they're going to like Greenwich Village, and they're just leaving the city. They're not, they're not leaving the state. They're just get away from the city. And they're talking about how, people are buying like houses, I guess, in Connecticut for like $500,000 over like asking price. Like it's like ridiculousness. Which, like, hey, that great for Connecticut. But that also makes me wonder, it's like, well, the people that can buy that shit, what are they leaving in New York City? And the only people that can buy that are just as rich as them, unless they're keeping multiple properties and just changing their
main dwelling.
yeah, their tax zip code for all those purposes. Yeah, I was like thinking about that today. I'm like, this is kind of interesting. Either it's going to be different rich people that come in, or these are just people with so much money that they don't care. They're going to have they're going to have 2 or 3 of these stupid houses that get them, outside of that realm, right? So I guess my first question before I go into some more of this a little bit deeper is, so when you saw this, and then again, the other piece was, that was big up there, is there was, I think it's a Democratic, is it governor of Jersey, or, I mean, it was a pretty big thing for the Northeast. They had a couple big ones that hit New York and New Jersey.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're
Uh,
Democratic.
one was a female, I
Yeah,
think, which is like the first one in Jersey
yeah,
ever
yeah.
for that, you know. But Jersey's not a hardcore red state either. So that one
No,
that didn't shock me all that much. But when you I guess when you saw in so Joe, did you even know much about this guy running before
not
like
at
2
all.
weeks ago?
Not at all.
Yeah, so
I
it's
still I still can't even pronounce his name like you.
right? I mean,
No, knew nothing about him.
maybe that's rude, I don't know, but I mean I mean, so like when you hear that, like, so you hear that, up in New York, they elected first thing that hits in your mind. Let's just start with that for a second. You hear you hear socialist Muslim, because that's I mean, that's pretty much what was put out there. What was like, what's the first thing that made you think about that and, kinda how things were when you lived up there, that perception? Like,
What's the first thing that came to mind? Oh, fuck.
okay, and why?
Uh, it just I mean, it didn't sound good. Again, I didn't it was more of an assumption with before doing homework, let's say, or any research into the guy. Previous to to him running, like I said, I had no clue. Didn't know if he was real, fake,
Or
or something in between, where he came from, where this stemmed from, like,
right,
is he even from New York? Like, where's he does he reside in New York? Like, where's he? Where's he coming from?
100%.
You know? Leave it is New York was I only lived there 7 years, so I'm not from New York, I'm from Jersey, but, we were there, like, 7 or 8 years over on Staten Island, but Staten Island was its own world.
Yeah,
It's primarily a sea of red, and it's not quite New York City, and it's not New Jersey, even though on paper it is a borough.
true. Yeah,
It
yep.
is a borough,
Yeah,
but it's not, like, it's fake New York. That's why, honestly, that's why I liked it because I came from Jersey, lived in Jersey, it was cool. My wife's from Staten Island. It was different. Like, it had if you wanted the quote unquote New York City vibe, bodega, train, pizza, corner store, nightlife, hanging out, you had a neighborhood section for that. If you wanted parks and grass
yep,
and maybe not swimmable water, but water
yeah.
and, like, water life, you had that as well, which was pretty badass, which I liked it. I thought it was great. I mean, not enough to stay there the rest of my life.
Well, I mean, you gotta want the cold. I mean, it's just not a cheap place to live. That's
No,
just the.
no,
I mean,
no.
again, that's the Northeast. It comes with the. Jersey
Yeah.
isn't cheap either. I mean, shit.
No, no, not at all.
So okay, yeah, I get that, and that was. I mean, I'll be honest. Like when you're looking at that, and this is gonna sound, I guess, ignorant is really the word to use it, and especially when you're when we're talking about two foreigners here. But I remember the last primaries, Vimek Mama Swami, whatever. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? You had to
Yeah,
look into him. Like, not that that's any different than honestly half the time when there's five old white guys up there and you only know one of their names anyway, and the other ones
exactly.
are who the hell are these people? But it's very interesting where it has come about so fast now with social media that you're
Mhm.
like people go from zero to a million. I mean, I'm sure this guy's well known in New York. Obviously, he got elected, so he's got a name for himself up there somehow. For doing what he did prior to this.
I would hope so.
But I don't know. There's some. Go watch the movie Distinguished Gentleman.
Okay,
It's the old Eddie Murphy movie.
okay.
Yeah, he gets his Senate job by just name recognition alone. It's hilarious. It's a great old Eddie Murphy movie. I mean, so Mike, what were your first thoughts when you kind of heard about this kind of stuff? And
Well,
I'm gonna just dig in on this guy personally because it's just easy.
so Zorn Mamdani is a democratic socialist. Now, I didn't know that he was getting so much attention, obviously, because I mean, it was New York, so I'm also detached from it. But I saw him along the same lines as Bernie Sanders or AOC or any of those people, where they're democratic socialists, but that's not how everybody else on opposite sides of the way I don't even say aisle, but just the way of thinking, even boomers from back in the day, they see socialists, they see communist, and it's like, well, no, they're not the same. They're not one and the same. Two different ideologies based on the same
Yeah,
fabric, but they are two different. But yeah, that's mainly why people started losing their shit. Me personally, I'm all like, well, cool, because I consider myself to be a moderate progressive, centrist even, depending on the subject matter. But over here, I only know him because I watch political shit every day, unfortunately. I need to pick up a porn habit or something.
It'd be it'd be
I
healthier.
thought, but I saw him. He's a young guy. He's of the new generation. He excited a lot of the young professionals there. The rich, established people there don't like him because he wants to come for their money, which I understand that to be a freak out. But it's kind of like Trump's first presidency. A lot of people overreact. Um, for the wrong reasons. Like they thought like World War III was going to break out in 24 hours, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just not what happened. And those
Yep.
with mellower minds knew that that wasn't it. It was always there on the shelf. Like, oh shit, is this going down? But I think it's the reverse panic. So people panicked in 2016 when Trump got elected. Oh my god! And now you've got this democratic socialist, and people just like he's a fucking commie. And like, no, no, well, no, that there's democratic socialists, and I dipped my toe carefully in
Uh-oh.
a Facebook interaction with a post that one of our friends did, and they live in Minnesota, about how they couldn't believe that America voted for a communist. So I simply gave them the definition between a communist and a socialist, and well, they didn't like being explained to with facts. So they started going off on like the only reason why he got elected is because there's a bunch of immigrants in New York City and it's overrun by Muslims. I'm like, wow, wow. And it got dark. I'm not kidding. It got racially and just dark, and I slowly walked away into that good night. And me, I think it's an exciting change. He's a young guy, he's 34 years old. Agree with his politics or disagree. I believe any change in a kick in the pants to politics to what it is today, I think it could be a start of a new way of anyone. So you got to have two sides, just like a bad marriage, good marriage. You're gonna have good stuff. You're gonna have bad stuff. You have to compromise in the middle. Is this the start of that compromise? I don't know. Is it a deepening of the sword of death? We shall see.
Okay, so I agree with you there. I didn't even think about democratic socialists, even though I know it's been thrown out there. Like, I know Bernie, that's always been the thing he's pushed out there. Didn't even enter my mind, to be honest with you, until you said it again. AOC, I don't know. I had no idea that she's just,
She's a
I
progressive democratic socialist. She's a mish.
she's a little, there's, I don't know, there's
A little too much sometimes. Yeah, I agree.
a little too much a lot of times. But yeah, but
Cocaine
again,
runs.
it's a different, it's a different younger age, and all that. It's gonna go. We're gonna get more and more of that. Is what's gonna happen. The older
Yeah.
we get, that shit's just gonna become more and more prevalent, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
But the thing is, no one had. There was no uproar about Bernie running for president or staying in Vermont, which everyone considers hippies and ice cream anyway, calling himself a socialist and all that. Is that before I move on to my next question about this, though? Is it because he's an old white dude that people really and the other difference with Bernie, and again, not he's an old white dude, but he also talks like a crazy guy because he's got that no, 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 no. He's very like he's always hopped up on sugar or something like that. So people, I think maybe they just dismiss him a little bit more that way, thinking,
I could listen to Bernie Sanders talk all freaking day. Swear to
actually,
God, he makes me laugh. Let me tell
oh yeah,
you, this is the way it's gonna be.
yeah,
Are you laughing with him or at him?
yeah, a little bit of both, right?
Well, it depends on the subject. Usually, it's just at his voice. He's like, "All right, well, I'm running for president, and we got stuff to do. So there we go." Oh,
Yeah, it's always
okay.
he's out there. That's I mean, hey, you guys seem to have a good heart, but he's a little kooky. It's like Colonel Sanders running for president, though, right?
Yeah. God, yeah.
So, all right. So, well, I want to stay on this note for a second, right? All right. So here's part of the reason I wanted to dig deeper into this. And somebody I know that I like as a person had made a comment on Facebook just about just a tongue in cheek comment after this midterm election was out there, and I watched it snowball. Like literally, like old Bugs Bunny cartoon movie where it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, until it
Uh-huh.
explodes. So I'm just going to go through two posts, all right, that I want to talk about. No names. I'm not that fucking mean to anybody out there. But there's a couple that like I mean, like I read these and I want to say my jaw dropped because kind of like where is this mindset coming from? Because it goes against everything that and these are all Florida people and I'm going to preempt it with that because in Florida it's North Florida's weird because it doesn't feel like Florida. It's almost like it's like a melting pot of just coolness here, you know? But like Florida itself is it's very red in places, it's very blue in places,
Mhm.
and and then you've got a big mesh of we really don't care.
Yeah.
You know, it's just we're here to just enjoy the weather and kind of, live our lives, which is that's why I'm here. I didn't come here for any politics.
No.
I came here for the schools, the weather, and because I'm back to the ocean. That's and the people were cool as shit. That literally I was did not give one two shits about it. I think I knew about politics was a friggin' hanging Chad with Bush back in, when they used to actually use punch cards for fucking elections. That's as far as I went with that one. So, okay. So the first one I want to get into here, this is something somebody said. All right. I am baffled at the outcome of last night. And I agree if you move here from a blue state, you have to vote red. You cannot come here and vote the same way and think that that's going to change. But the country is about to see what real socialism looks like. Okay, so that's an interesting one, right? And actually, I'm going to read both of these because they're almost the same mindset. Okay, the other one was new proposal. If you flee again here, because everybody loves Florida, from a democratic state, which I find interesting that they're now specifying that you only come from a democratic state
Yeah.
because again, it's states are mixed across the board. You have to vote red or you're not allowed to vote. The person that said this is they're from an NYC refugee. So now hold on a second. This is where when I read these, yeah, Mike, as you're laughing, I think I know where your mind's going on. And I actually know, I mean, there was like 30 comments that were in the similar vein of this. And I
Well,
know,
you can bleep this out if you want, but no, no, stupid. That's not how America works.
well, you're right, Mike. But here's the thing, right? So, and these are some of these are people I know, which is why I had to keep my mouth shut for most of it
Understand?
across the board. But one, people are freaking out about a socialist. And so I actually looked up on, to see where the actual definition is and where they like put socialism on the scale, right? And it's literally dead center between full blown democracy and full blown communism.
Hmm.
Well, the comments that both of these people made is about as communist thinking as you can get. I mean, that's
Yeah.
100%. You can only vote. That is, that's the kind of shit where you go to Afghanistan and you got to use, your finger. And if the color
Hmm.
ain't right, they kill you. Or, you can't vote in private. And that's China. That's North Korea. You can't, that's not the mindset we should be having. And that's
No.
the stuff that is really kind of it chapped my ass a little bit about this one, and I'm just like, people, one, okay, so you think, whatever, 10 million people, I don't know, it's a big ass city, you made the wrong decision. Okay, well, it's their decision to live with.
Yeah.
Just like anybody who didn't like Trump getting elected a second time, it was still based on a majority of votes. You didn't like Biden 4 years ago. It's every 4 years. Hell, every 2 years we do this for somebody, in different manners, and you may or may not like it, but it is the process that we have,
We
and
have to
before I
pretty much hope for the best with the outcome
yes,
that the American people decide to go with. And that,
we don't
yeah, I
we
agree with you 100%. You're talking major divide of communist BS if that's or sorry, you can come to Florida, but you must vote red.
yeah, and
Oh,
that would view I mean, imagine if everything, if every state believed that, we'd be back into civil war because 'cause it'd
Yeah.
be that's
Oh,
where we were that's what we were saying before. It was, it was just north and south, it was red and blue. It
yeah,
was almost reversed for that one, but,
it was
you know
reversed. Blue
yeah,
was down here and red
so
was up here.
yeah, and I hear that, I'm like, do people really understand what they're saying? Because I don't
not
think,
at all.
I think
Not at all.
that's unfortunately, that's the problem with so much nowadays, is it's always, it gets into that, which is where we're gonna get a little bit later into another piece, but I read this and I'm like so I looked into the guy and I'm like, all right, he really isn't that crazy yet, and he can only in fact, impact New York City.
Yeah.
He wants to put up, he wanted to put a bunch of free, or government run grocery stores. People are like, dude,
Yeah, free food, free
good
That's
luck.
train.
Yeah,
he
good
still
luck with
has to
that
go
one.
through he still has to go
Yeah.
through the state to be able to do those things. So
Well,
that's
exactly.
kinda like Obama wanting to do half the things he wanted to do, and then everyone's like, "What happened to all this?" I'm like, "Well, dude, he found
Nope.
out it don't work like that."
Exactly. It'll be more curious to see what the guy can actually do, you know?
Yeah, his ideas and suggestion. I mean, it's all it is right now is suggestions.
Yeah.
It's like you said, he still has a boss.
It's all talk,
Yeah.
It's all
Mhm.
talk, you know? And so the thing that I hit all this and, like, so this is, like, really the comment I wanted to put on the social media post that this wonderful person I know had put out there, because I read it and I'm like, "All right, people got issues with this guy, and they're all from far away, will not be impacted one bit. Worst case, it ain't gonna impact your property value because guess what? If people move down here,
Yeah,
they're spending a shit ton of money,
exactly.
and they're still coming because they wanna be, not to change. People don't leave one place to go change another. It's because they want
Right.
what's already there to
Exactly.
embrace it.
Yeah, embrace the
Um,
new.
but I mean, so this is like way out there, Mike, way out there. But when I looked at this guy, he's a young, like you mentioned, darker skinned, non Christian, non mainstream Democrat slash Republican. He said he's a Muslim, socialist and all that. But in reality, the fact that this guy was able to get on the ballot, get elected for one of the most populous cities in the world is kind of 100% what our founding fathers dreamed about.
Yes.
The ability for us to have that opportunity to not, because again, we were limited. That's why we started, that's why we took over America. Sorry, Indians. But I mean, but that's why we came here, right? We still got the hard rock, baby. But we came here, they started the United States for that ability to do any of this type of shit. And for a communist to run. I mean, you'd think we would never, for someone to literally run and say they want to be the next king. Theoretically, the beauty of our country is that can happen. We bring about that ability, which nobody else can do without force. So I saw this and I'm like, yeah, it's not status quo. It's actually, as long as he doesn't screw things up, it's kind of cool that it's, for that big a change to see it happen. And again, as we're talking about, you're mentioning all these younger names. Our kids, sometimes they act like they think like we do, but once we get to a certain age, we're going to be crotchety old men. The kids aren't really going to be thinking the way
Mhm.
we do anymore. To them,
No.
they might think that all the people that we think are just peachy keen and politics are all the crazy ones. And yeah, we're going to be in our 80s looking at election like, oh, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. Oh boy.
Guess we're getting free medical care. But you know, hopefully our kids. I mean, did we all make the right decisions? I don't know. Or were they
Mm.
Never.
Debatable.
So
Well, it
what
is, right? I mean, it
Yeah.
it is.
New
I
Joe,
mean,
New Joe,
I
what's your take on why? Because you pointed out something that your first reaction was, "Oh shit," or I believe that's what you said. But then you said you researched. Is there a point where you're kind of like shrugged, or are you? We'll see what happens. Or are you still in the oh shit? We got this guy in New York, and is the fear on that position? Is could that be the standing trickle down of where the Democratic Party is heading? Kind of like the Republicans went, make America great again, to where Mamdani is now the socialist, communist, evil Muslim guy, and that's where they fear that the Democrat Party is going to go. What is the actual jumpstart of the oh shit of Mamdani?
So the initial "oh shit," I guess, was just more of it being outside the norm, just the headline of it, Muslim, brown dude, New
was
York City, socialist, like doom, like death, disparity.
Right.
And then I kind of just full transparency, like I kind of was just like, I don't even give a shit because I already escaped, like I'm out of
word.
Yeah.
there, but I don't forget where I came from, like I even though, like, again, I was born in Jersey, but like the tri-state area. So I'm actually still doing research on the guy. I kind of backpedaled a bit just because, like, important things in Florida and at work and kids and life consumed me. So and I don't need to be in the know because it's really not gonna affect me, and the people that I really care about either live in Florida already or they can handle their own, the couple people that I have that are up north. But yeah, I guess it was, I mean, the little bit of research and homework that I did already, and it's very minuscule, hence I didn't really know what was gonna go on this evening, so if I would have known, I would have dug deep and did
Well, but
all my research, but
I didn't dig deep either.
no, we like to leave it open for all of us,
no, no, I
obviously.
got
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I didn't want you to go there,
No,
too
no,
deep.
for sure. I don't wanna say that I take back my feeling of shit,
Oh, no.
fuck, like this, damn this dude. I'm like 50-50. Kind of piggybacking what Joe number 1 said, the original Joe.
I'm not that old.
No, but you came before me. Seniority. It could be, like it could be good, right? It's change that maybe we need or they need rather, not we, because I'm not in that we anymore. I hope so. I would we recently went back to New York and we couldn't wait to leave. And it had nothing to do with the political stance and the political views of our
No.
trip or what happened for that. It was just everything else.
Yep.
It
Your
was just we're
comfort
in
zone.
Brooklyn, and it was just, like, extra dirty, extra homeless. Not to say it was always, like, pristine and, you could lick the streets, but
No.
everything was just worse off. And even my kids, which are fairly young, they're 10 and 12, like, I saw them looking out the window, and they're just like, "Why is everything so, like, dark?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a cloudy day."
Eh,
"No, we mean, like, the houses, like, there's
oh,
no, like, colorful things here."
true.
And I'm like, "Well, guys, it's not a fair comparison. The mean streets of Rivertown compared to, Bay Ridge, Brooklyn." I was
Yeah.
like, let's not do a comparison chart. It's not fair.
That's funny though that you say that because anything that I swear I think is north of the Mason-Dixon at
It's
this point
dull.
in time. Yeah, like we went 2 years ago, we were flying home, flying to Ohio for Christmas. And I remember literally the planes coming into landing. And my son, who would have been I don't know, 9 at the time, maybe, he was like, "Well, why is everything so brown and gross?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, it's not even snow." He's like, I'm like, this is what the North and Midwest is like half a
Oh,
year,
yeah.
huh, son?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're not," and we went back up there, and even, like, we'd go to Virginia, which is still but it's still north of it, and where we used to live there also, and, my wife's like, "Wow, I never realized how brown shit gets after, October." Here
Yeah.
we could almost mow our lawn every freaking, all year. It's so close, but everything stays green. It's a
Yeah.
big difference. There's more sunshine.
Mhm.
The joke I used to always have is go to Ohio and you'll see the sun as soon as you leave. And my wife used to think I was batshit crazy. We drove up there once when we were living in Georgia, and we're coming home, and I swear we were there almost a week, never saw the sunshine. We're leaving, crossing the Marietta River. You see a sign, "Welcome to West Virginia." As soon as we hit under that, the sun's shining. She turns around, she's like, "You gotta be kidding me. You're not." I'm like, "I don't wanna tell you. This is West Virginia. I don't think that even counts." But it's just, the North, you get that it's winter. I mean, it is what it is.
Exactly.
You live that for a reason, you're used to it, you grow up there. But you're right, it's a tough thing, and I wonder again, I haven't thought a ton into this for every reason that you just mentioned, all that. I think maybe some of the fear is that the party, this socialism-ish, whatever you wanna call it, light socialism, ends up catching on, and maybe the fear is it actually grows, and it's
Mm.
not a one-person thing, right? I don't have no fucking clue. I don't know where it's gonna go. It probably even if it does, it won't be in a time frame that'll most likely impact me because I'll be probably retired by the time something like that would really start to spread. But
Yeah.
it's gonna
Well,
have
it
an
also
impact on our kids,
it
right? And
it
in
also
what way?
depends on how extreme the socialism goes. Like the United States we already enjoy a plethora of socialist programs that are put in by Roosevelt and FDR. Yeah,
Yeah.
Teddy. He was the shit. But he was a progressive, but today would be called a socialist because he did make those defining moments, Social Security, things like that, the mail order, fire departments, police departments, things like that that are funded through government tax dollars. That's all socialist programs. But when he starts, I see where the fervor or the anger comes when he starts talking about state run grocery stores, it's like, well, you already have like SNAP and WIC and things like that. So that's already that kind of socialist program. I don't think he needed to dip his toe into like giving people images of bread lines and shit.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no one wants that.
And that's what I think happened with him is I'm shocked as shit that he got not got elected, but look what he was running against. Look into that and you'd be like, yeah, I don't even know why those guys ran.
I can't actually, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't wanna dig on that, but I'm actually shocked Cuomo could run again. I thought he was
Yeah, that
like,
was like
I
I thought
thought
he
he
was like
was out.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought he was out.
I was very shocked that he was running. That's yeah, that one shocked me.
But I guess, I mean, Donald Trump's got all that shit underneath him. He still ran, so I guess there's that little thing. 'Cause I was shocked that Trump could even run for another presidency, and then it's like, well, I guess he did it, so why not? But I think that that's what saved his ass is the people he was running against. If there would have been an actual qualified candidate within the Democratic Party, she probably wouldn't have done as well. But she wasn't
Yeah.
going. He was going against a guy who had like 27, 30 women come after him for sexual assault, and it's like,
hey,
Was
dude,
a good yeah,
yeah, back in,
he's sexy as
I'm
hell.
sorry. I have good taste in my men, and he's not one of them.
His brother wasn't bad. He was the like, I think his brother was a decent,
Oh, it's brothers.
comparably
yeah,
compared to him, compared to this Cuomo, I
Always
mean,
all right, fella.
of the 2, one was better than the other, but yeah,
Mhm,
neither one were, altar boys, right?
mhm.
Okay, we're going way longer on this than I thought, and I love it actually. So I'm gonna touch on I'm gonna skip over one thing, Mike. All right, I'm gonna skip
Oh,
over
I
that.
get you. Number 2, we're
I think
gonna
it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine to skip over where we're gonna go with this one. Don't worry, people. It'll come back up in a couple weeks, I promise. It's
yeah,
but it goes right along with the whole spreading of love and anti and all that. It's very kind of the mindset that goes along with that one. But since we've kind of gone down the pseudo rise of socialism, which I don't even want to say that because I don't think there's any rise of it at all.
it's
I
always
mean,
there, it's just how extreme you wanna think about
We've
it.
thrown 3 names out there, and again, I would've you say AOC is into it, I had no idea about that, I just know she yells a lot, so I would not known that one. Sanders was the only one that I ever even thought,
Oh, yeah,
would
Sanders
cross
was
my
a big backer of, Alexandria Cortez. He was a
yeah.
huge backer of hers.
So as we're going into that though, not that I think it's ever gonna create another political party in any manner, but in a changing of politics, I wanna touch on the word MAGA for a minute.
Okay.
And I don't wanna talk on I'm not talking the Republican ideology of Trump or any of that, okay? And so this is where I get weird with the word MAGA, and when I see hats, and I have a shit ton of family, a mass ton of friends that love the word.
Mhm.
I don't know if they actually truly love the word or they love the idea and everything that goes along with it, and the fact that that they can be boisterous with it and all that. I think that's a bigger piece of it. It's just, it's like a big frat at this point, it's what it's almost turned into.
Yes.
Team
But the reason I
colors.
wanna touch on it is, again, because yesterday was Veterans Day, and
Mhm.
I wanna really break this down and get your opinion on this one. MAGA, make America great again. Joe, Mike, I've been around this world way too many places. I've seen some really shitholes. I've seen mass poverty, sadly for a lot of children, which always sucks to see, right? And all that. When I look at where I'm at, and I've always felt this even before like the big political divide. And I'm not saying I'm one way or the other. I'm very middle of the road. I mean, I've been a registered Republican for 30 years. That doesn't mean I vote straight down the aisle on anything. I remember the beauty of Reagan growing up as a kid. And, did I really know what he stood for? No, but god damn, he was Ronald Reagan. So you loved him for some reason, right? But make America great again. The 3 of us that are having this conversation at the moment have won the lottery no less than 3 times in our life. We are white males born in America.
Yep.
Those 3 things give us such a starting point above so many other people. Take the white away. You're still above a lot of people. You're male and you're born in America.
Yeah.
Take away, let's make you a female of any color. You're still being born here. You got way more opportunities
Yeah.
and a better, I mean, you're already starting with a handicap if we're playing golf that nobody else has got. You know, compared to damn near any place I've ever seen, or been to. So the reason I say all that is when I hear that the MAGA phrase, it isn't any of the political shit that bothers me, anything involved about, but that phrase, like I look at it, I'm like, when was our country not great? That's what you could say that things need to be better. Things have always needed to be better here. There's
Yeah.
always things that need to be fixed. But to say we're not great is like, I got two grandparents and, one in Vietnam, one in World War II. These guys put their life on the line for all that shit, some, and they were kids. We are in an amazing place. There is no other place I would ever want to live, even in Iowa, I would take it over Russia. I
Yeah.
would go back to I would live in Ohio, maybe before Baghdad. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, the UAE, maybe I'd take that over, a couple places, but, do you see what I like? Does that make sense to you when I say it that way? When you look at it that way,
Yeah.
imagine if someone was wearing a hat that said, our country is a shithole. And that was the way they, kind of, um, ran it up the mountain, up the hill instead of, make it great again. I did see one that was take America back. Okay, that's better at least. You're not
Yeah.
spitting on it. And I know that one is more, that's more to very specific things and all that. But I mean, tell me when we were never great. Am I wrong to have that phrase bother me? Or am I
You want to
just,
go first, Joe number two, or you want me to take it?
Uh, I'll jump in.
I mean,
All right. Go.
prove me an idiot, please.
No, I
Because I
don't.
want to.
No.
It's not easy, is it?
For me, I don't. Okay, let me rewind a second. I'm gonna have to chop this part up a bit. A little bit of
That's fine.
pause and thinking. America was never not great for Joe and his small family, right? I like you, but if I know you're not sick or you're going to bed hungry, I know you're okay. Like you're good. Like I'm not gonna say I don't give a shit about you, but like I'm gonna sleep pretty decent, even though I sleep like shit.
Gotcha. Yep.
So for me, no, America was never not great. There was only one time where America was getting goofy was when Biden was in the seat. Well, when Biden was, and yeah, we'll just say when he was in the seat, because this is when I'm an ex-railroad worker, so railroad retirement. I'm no longer on the railroad, but he whispered a whisper about, well, the railroad has a lot of money, and eventually we're gonna have to chop that up. Don't quote me verbatim for the exact verbiage he
Right.
used, but he was almost insinuating that he wanted to basically take our funds, take
Um,
that pot of gold and disperse it differently because Social Security was struggling allegedly, or well, when is it not struggling?
true.
So that was the only time that, again, I'm not going to say it wasn't great, but that was the only time where I felt a little uneasy with the way things could have went
Okay, I see that. I see that.
because it affected Joe and his small little family.
Well, yeah, you literally felt, yeah, you felt direct
I felt a little
potential
potential
impact.
impact or heat.
Yeah, yeah, which 1000%.
Other
Yeah.
than that, like we said in the beginning, there's always room for improvement. There's no such thing, just like what's his name that rates the pizzas, One Bite, Dave Portnoy.
Oh,
You can't have a perfect 10 because then you'll never have and
you never know their pizza.
you'll never have another better one.
Yep.
There'll never be a better slice or whatever.
Yeah.
But so that's for me, for my little family and thought on like, no, I never listen. First of all, my dad's not even from America. So,
No, hold on, I gotta make a phone call.
uh-oh.
Mike, how do you spell,
It was icy in
how do you
Jacksonville.
spell
How does-
ice?
It was
And then
icy
no.
in Jacksonville this morning.
but he's gonna be like, "Oh, actually, my dad was," I meant he was from, the Upper East Side. That's what we mean by not from America,
No, I mean like not the USA.
Well, good.
Um,
So, I mean,
but
but he came here because of the opportunity.
he came here the right way, the legal way,
Yeah.
for the opportunity. Yeah, he actually gave up. I guess you could say he was kind of like a longshoreman-ish,
Nice.
we'll call it. Kind of hard to explain. And he gave that up at 20 something years old to come to America
Wow.
because the streets were paved in gold. That's what he heard. That's literally the phrase he used. He's like, we were told that that there were certain streets paved
Paved
in
in
gold.
gold. And now that's actually, I mean, I don't want to say it's off the subject, but no, that's fucking crazy because, I mean, it's not like you're 90 years old and saying this about your dad. You're young. So I mean, to hear that from only one generation away,
Yeah,
that's the shit we used to hear in like history, like, or the kind of a joking thing that you didn't,
for sure.
they're coming over on a slow boat to hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That is,
Yeah, I
I mean,
think
that's
my
all honest.
ancestors came over they came over in like 1870, 1880s when both, at least as far as I've gone in my genealogy, and that's pretty much what they were going for was the paved in gold. But we're talking, you know, over almost 200 years ago. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
great
so
that
that
we
recent
still
we
have
were still paved in gold. Sweet.
um,
Not so to jump back again now, the MAGA thing as just the red and white, right? Red background, white font.
yeah.
It's just band merch.
Boom, I like that.
It's band merch.
Band merch. I like
It's
that.
what it is.
You're
It's
right.
for me, like,
You're
do
right
I
though.
own any of it? No, full disclosure, I don't. I think it's more of a like a quiet riot. Like it's just a bold statement without saying anything. It's the loudest silence in the room when I see that.
Okay.
Let me rephrase that. The people that I've actually encountered wearing MAGA were the quiet the were the loudest silent people.
Well, gotcha.
They
Okay.
weren't kind of like hoorah yelling and screaming. It was just, they had it on and it was loud and it was loud because other people made it loud. The people that
Yeah.
didn't like it or the people that loved it and it was just like, "Hey, nice, yeah." Like they throw the fist up like, "Yes."
So it's kinda
Yeah.
like, I mean, I never thought of it that way in one way, because I get that, because it's like, I mean, take PETA, like, if we wanna go to another extreme, right?
Mhm.
You've got people ethical treatment of animals. Anyone who's against that is a dickbag.
Yeah,
But you've got people that just believe that, slap a bumper sticker on their car,
yeah,
they're the quiet whatever. And then you got the ones that go out, free all the monkeys and burn down a building, or,
exactly.
literally throw paint on someone because they don't like the maybe real fur they're wearing. And it's, I mean, I guess I never really broke a band merch. I love that.
Band
That is, I
merch.
mean, it really, and people get passionate about their band.
The
And
second I saw those hats unroll, that's the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, it's just another variation of a band. I couldn't
Yeah.
First, I was very shocked, but then as I stepped back and, like, really saw the flux of purchases and then, like, people making shirts and stickers and different color schemes and font and blah, 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 I was like, "It's ingenious." But
Oh
again,
yeah.
it's great marketing.
the guy's a businessman. He's conducting business. Whether he's seeing money, I don't know. I never went down
Yeah.
that rabbit hole of, like, is he getting a percentage of each MAGA hat?
Or
Probably
yeah, there's
not.
the copyright
Yeah,
it.
TM,
He might not,
like
yeah,
a
he might not have gotten that smart, but I mean, they all make so much money in political realm. It's disgusting. But I didn't. Again, I really like that. I think that might actually even change my view on the way I see it. When you see this stuff, there's something out there, instead of being like, and again, I see it as, I'm also the type of person that if I see a bumper sticker, usually in my mind is the person in front of me is a douche. And it doesn't matter what that bumper sticker says, whether it says, careful, new driver
yeah.
or, baby on board. It's just, I don't,
My kid made the honor roll.
yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. But guess
Did
what?
my kid beat up your
Anything,
own student?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
like that
exactly.
one. I
If
haven't
my,
seen that one in a
or
while. You don't see that one in Florida. I saw that one
no,
up north a lot, I'll tell you
I'm
that.
Oh
gonna get
no,
a
you
my,
don't see that. That's very not PC these days. You
yeah,
can't be beating people up and bullying.
my kid impregnated your honor roll student
There we go.
you slept
I've
with.
seen that one. That's a good
Tell your
one.
honor roll to call my kid.
I've
Well,
seen some good ones recently.
to bounce off of you, Joe, number two. So I agree. I like the look of it being more of a band thing because for me, whenever I saw manga, I mean, I'll take my personal slang out to the side, but what it's been turned into is not just a Nirvana versus Quiet Riot versus Led Zeppelin. It's turned more into the Browns versus the Steelers. And it's for me, it's people wanting to mark their team territory.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's where the passion comes in because I know I love my bands, but if anybody else was wearing, say, I don't know, I like so many bands, but I don't sit there and begrudge somebody because they're sporting a Kenny Chesney shirt, and I
I do.
loathe country music. I'm sorry, I just can't. I just can't. But 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 when it comes to the manga, it's kind of like everybody drew their lines, they drew their sides, and now it's like I've got this is my team, that's yours. Let's go. And that's what a lot of people treat that like. I like the way it that sounds better as the band t-shirt concept is, but that's not how people are perceiving it. They're perceiving it as their team or the other, and that's on both ends. The Mangas are wearing it like it's their Steelers jersey or their favorite guy, and
Mhm.
and the other people are like you're in. It's like I'm up in Ohio. You're in Brown zone. What are you doing wearing a Steelers jersey kind of shit?
Yeah.
And people do react that way to it. Not a conversation anymore. Oh yeah, like your shirt. I once saw them back in '85. It was a great show. Now it's like you might try it. People wearing Harris signs on their front porch. It's like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? It's like I get it. Everyone wants to for presidency, you want to get out there your person, but when it's that volatile, that much dynamite on something to where people on both sides are getting their shit smacked around, slash windows broken out. That goes
Mhm.
that goes that
Too
goes
far.
too far in passion. It's
But
not. Oh, go ahead.
what is it? I was gonna say, but on that note, though, the other thing is, like, again, the band, the sport analogy is great because it really does show the passion of it, and that's actually that was one of the cool things about it is it did have and it still does, obviously, it's got this massive passion behind it. Whether you agree or disagree what is feeding that passion,
Yeah.
it's still good to see, great to see that, that passion behind something,
Mhm.
for a large part of the country. The other thing that gets me a little bit is and again, because I read into those fucking 4 letters so directly, my other thing is the election was goddamn a year ago, and
Yeah.
it's been everywhere for the last 6 years. Ever since, 2016, ever since, Trump first ran, it's been crazy, and it's like people won't stop with it.
I don't think it's gonna end.
No, I don't think
I
it'll
think
end
it's here to
for
stay.
yeah, for quite a while, and I think it's almost like I kind of view it as almost a new political party because
Yeah.
it's really not the core Republican Party anymore. It's a very different belief structure, which is interesting when we get into this, then you start talking about this socialism and is there gonna be something new come about? Is there gonna be a true, libertarian party one day or, versus just a bunch of guys that, flail in the wind and try to get votes and it never goes anywhere, right?
Right. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't a lot of the MAGA phase derivative of the Tea Party from back several, 8, 9, 10 years ago when that was a thing? People were sitting on Wall Street and freaking out, and I could be
I
wrong. I didn't.
I don't know. I do vaguely remember that they did try to start that Tea Party movement, and I think I was young enough at an age I didn't give much of a shit what was going on
No,
at
because
that
we were
point.
called the
I do.
Teabag Party.
Yes. Oh my god, you might be right. It might have been the opposite realm though, honestly, than, but yeah, it's stuck around, it's here to stay. I don't know where it's gonna go in a few years.
Oh,
It might not
so
fizzle
to br-
until Trump himself just
to,
passes away. He's an old guy, it's gonna happen, but
So to bring up a really interesting point, when we were on a trip recently, Joe, and we saw the gentleman that was all garbed up in his MAGA outfit every day. He had a different
every
MAGA outfit. He was the only one on this trip that had this thing rocking. And I remember asking myself, would I look at this person any different as crazy if they were decked out in all Kamala Harris shit with the hat and the shirt and the wristwatch and the socks and the pants? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't at all. I'd be like, you've lost the plot, bro. Yeah. Get your ass to the buffet, get a drink.
Oh,
But
yeah,
but
you look back crazy if you do that across the board. I mean, it's kinda like, in a way, especially where we were this was on Alaska we were up in Alaska, on a cruise ship, and it stood out like a sore thumb. It's kinda like you go somewhere and there's that one extreme, like Marilyn Manson looking dude or chick that, and everybody else is no one's dressed like that. You're like, "What were they thinking?"
okay.
And not even a matter of, "Is there something wrong with this person?" Whatever. Do whatever you want. I don't really give a shit, honestly. It
Yeah.
doesn't impact me, but
Yeah.
what were you thinking? Yeah, had the guy been in, looked like he just fell off the ranch on a
Well,
on
to,
a
to
farm.
play to play it to a subject you and I have talked about in the past, Joe, is people that get really passionate about college teams that they never attended. It's
Word.
what? Oh, you never went. You went like you never went to OSU. Why do you painted your car like the Buckeyes? You got Buckeyes. Okay, that's what I attribute it to. So for me, it's more of a team play thing, and unfortunately, a lot of people on the opposite side have turned it into a phrase, an abbreviation of hatred, and that's not everybody's like that. Now, if you are a hateful person, more than likely you do belong with that crowd, but it's not everybody. It's not
No, there's because I mean, you could, yeah, even if you go that route, I guarantee I can find you people on the other side of the crowd that are just as hateful. And I mean, we could go, unfortunately, we can go down weird paths on that one if we want. And I mean, we could talk about how many. I'm gonna probably get struck by lightning for saying this one, but how many times has a Catholic priest been,
Mhm.
you know, caught touching little boys? I mean, and this is documented stuff, so it's not like I'm making stuff up, but every sect of anything has got extremism. Then there's just various
Yeah.
forms of it. And I guess the more you think about it, it's just, you know, politics is never not in the limelight, especially nowadays and with social media. So it's kind of like your band is always
Always relevant.
touring in town.
Yeah.
So that's why you always see it. And I never attributed it that way, but it's like the other guy who never wears anything but anime or New York Yankees gear or whatever. It really isn't any different than that.
No.
And, the passion just follows along with that. And I never go ahead, Mike. I see you want to say something,
I've
but
got
I mean,
I've got a I've got a perfect segue moment.
go for it.
So when it comes to extremes, we're going to segue this to would anybody be bold enough as to get either a America Great Again tattoo or a couple of hairs tattoo on
They're
their
out there.
body?
They're out there.
I feel like they have to be out
Oh,
there.
I guarantee there's tons
They
of them.
have to be out
There is there's Trump faces. There's probably I guarantee there's crazy enough people that've got, like, Hillary Clinton still tattooed on them.
there.
I mean but you're right, Mike. Let's segue. I'm gonna take the reins from you for a second. And Joe, I
Go
wanna
for
really
it.
bring one. Thank you, Mike. You rolled us in because this one was gonna keep going, which is